The new way to overcoming fear. Very few people talk about this, and I want to share this with you guys. That's why I'm going to talk about this kind of controversial matter today, and I hope you enjoy it. So, welcome back to another episode of Rapid Subconscious Reprogramming Community. This is Tommy Walker, the Mind Engineer, and I want to share a little bit more on the new way, in a way, on how to start overcoming fear. And this is a big thing that a lot of people around the world are struggling with and are getting anxiety, stress, panic attacks, and different things. So I want to address it today to be able to help as many people as possible. So if you're watching live, hashtag live. If you're watching replay, hashtag replay. If you're watching on YouTube, if you want to subscribe for whenever we go live, you can see more of what we're offering. Thank you very much for being here. So let's talk about fear. It drives me nuts when I hear people talking about how to handle fear, and they're teaching this old school that most people are not being able to change, but they keep doing the same thing. It's like what Einstein said, right? Doing the same thing, expecting different results is insanity. It doesn't work. So I want to invite you to open your heart, open your mind to something different. Because if you keep doing what you're doing, you're not going to be able to really deal with the fear. So first of all, we need to understand that we have been programmed, preconceived, we have been, taught that fear is a bad thing. And a lot in men, what we see is that they repress fear because if they have fear, it's being weak. But we need to understand that fear is part of our human condition. There's nothing wrong with fear. The problem is, again, that most people don't know how to handle it. So what a lot of people have learned to is to disconnect from the fear, repress it, shove it into the back, put it under the rug, and pretend it's not there. The thing is, when we were kids, we were scared. And even though we were scared, we tried different things. We learned how to walk. Even though we felt, we banged ourselves, we were able to learn how to walk through fear, not by repressing it, by ignoring it. So first of all, the first thing to understand is that fear is part of our human nature. So trying to repress it, trying to ignore it, try to pretend it's not there is not working, and it's not going to work for most people. So when I want to share here, one of the things that I was told by one of my big mentors in when I was doing mountaineering, I was doing rescue, right, is that fear is a good advisor, but not a good driver. Fear is a good advisor, but not a good driver. What do I mean with this? Whenever we're having a part of us, remember that the mind is like, different parts of us. In psychology, it's called subpersonalities. We need to understand that there might be a part of us that is scared of something. And if there's a part of me that is scared of something, what it needs is somebody to give it attention, to understand it, to support it. And I know it sounds crazy, but if my kid comes in and says, Dad, I'm scared, instead of telling him, don't be scared, and that's what most people were trained to do as kids, I would say, hey, buddy, it's okay if you're scared. What are you scared of? And I'm going to try to explore with him to understand why is he scared. Instead of trying to deny it, repress it, ignore it, I'm going to try to understand him, to try to help him process. One of the big things that I see over and over again in coaching, the dark side of coaching used in a negative way, is repressing emotions, ignoring emotions. Yes, seriously, that is the worst thing that most people are doing out there. And I've seen this by many big gurus. Even Tony Robbins, that he teaches great things in this area, what has to do with dealing with emotions. I feel he has no idea what he's talking about. I'm sorry. But when he tells you that when you're feeling down, you got to put the superhero, pose and try to feel like a superhero, that's denying your negatives. Instead of doing that, instead of doing what Eckhart Tolle is teaching about living in the present, ignoring your negative emotions, Dr. Dispenza teaches the same. There's so many gurus teaching this exact same thing about what to do with your negative emotions. I believe they are all wrong. Sorry, but I'm going to say it. There are other people out there that are teaching the right things. I want to share that with the world too. Because Tony Robbins is teaching something, it doesn't mean that maybe it's outdated, maybe it's not working anymore. And I've seen it over and over again with lots of people. I got a lot of people from Tony Robbins' group reaching out to me, and I have worked with a lot of people in there that have been following him, practicing his tools for years. And again, he has great tools in many areas of the life. But when it has to do with emotions, I believe what he's teaching is outdated. Tony Robbins, Dr. Dispenza, Edgar Tolle are teaching things that are not working for most people when it has to do with emotional states. Instead of pretending that everything is okay, instead of denying your negatives, not accepting them as they're wrong, practice loving and accepting them. Because if you look at Dr. Dispenza, he speaks about spirituality. Tony Robbins speaks about spirituality. Edgar Tolle, Abraham Hicks, they all speak about spirituality, but then they teach us conditional love. Yes, you heard right. Conditional love means that I'm only going to love a part of me when it does exactly what is expected. So if I have fear, no, that is wrong. And spirit loves and accepts everything. So if you follow those guys that believe in spirituality, I'm going to tell you that then start thinking that denying a part of you, ignoring a part of you, that is not love. That is conditional love. And you know what? Would you do that to your kid? If your kid comes to you and says, I'm scared, would you deny it? Maybe in the past you would have done it. Right? Nowadays, we've been taught now, the new school is that whenever somebody's feeling scared, it needs to be listened, it needs to be acknowledged. We need to learn from that to understand what is it that the mind is seeing, and I call it tunnel vision. What is it that the mind is focusing on to feel scared? Support, love, and accept. That is going to bring the fear down. Then we're going to bring some understanding. Why is the fear there? Are you scared of failing? Why are you scared of failing? Oh, because maybe I was taught as a kid that failing was bad. Yes, a lot of people have been taught that failing is bad, that losing money is bad, that doing something wrong is bad. But you need to understand that maybe losing money because, you were investing in something, hoping it to work, maybe it wasn't that bad. Seriously. If I don't take risk, I might not be able to make more money, maybe in that area of my life. If I don't take risks as finding another job, at being rejected, I might not be able to find another job, find a partner. Maybe I'm not putting myself out there to find a partner, to find somebody to share love with, right? Because I'm scared of being rejected. So yeah, I might get hurt, but I need to understand that I might get hurt by myself, not by somebody else. Although on the outside, I might find somebody that judges me, criticizes me, makes fun of me or whatever. I am hurting myself. So I need to bring presence to the fear, to that part of me, and understanding. So, hey, why are you scared? Scared of failing. Why are you scared of failing? Because when I was a kid, I was taught that failing was bad. And if I fail, my parents get angry. Or another part of Tommy gets angry at Tommy. Listen to this. How many times have you heard your inner critic? Oh, if you make mistakes, right? The inner critic coming at you. So what we need to understand is that while we're doing those things, we are beating ourselves up. So we need to start changing those behaviors, because if we start becoming more friendly with the part of us that is scared, the part of us that doesn't want to take a risk or something, and start changing the story of, okay, failing could be a stepping stone, not the end of the world. Now I start feeling safer. I start feeling more loved, supported, safe to start taking actions. And suddenly what happens with the fear? It starts dissolving. So it's not about shoving it to the back, pretending it's not there. It's about embracing and loving the part of you that is feeling the fear so that we can handle it correctly, dissolve it through love and understanding. Because that's what we all need in this world that we're living in. It's not more AI tools to help us in whatever area of our life. That's great, don't get me wrong, and I use them a lot, but it's seriously loving and accepting every part of us, to dissolve the negatives, not to ignore them, not to shove them in the, under the rug, not to repress them, because they're going to come back. And eventually something is going to blow up in your face, whether it is a panic attack, an anxiety attack, whether it is depression, whether it is high levels of stress till you get burnt out. All of those normally are byproducts of ignoring our feelings. When somebody falls into burnout, when somebody falls into exhaustion, when somebody falls into overwhelm, when somebody falls into OCD, obsessive compulsory disorder, when they try to control, everything, yes, whatever the person is struggling with normally is a byproduct of repressing their emotions, not dealing with them correctly. They're lacking love and acceptance, and the mind eventually shuts down. So if you want to avoid that in a new way, start asking yourself these 3 basic questions that I keep sharing over and over again. How do I feel? Why do I feel this? And how does this make me feel about myself? How do I feel? Emotions. Why do I feel this is understanding the emotions. And then how does this make me feel about myself? I want to try to access the subconscious mind to find the scripts, the narratives that are holding me back. Yes, like I'm not good enough. I cannot fail because if I fail, I'm a failure. I'm not lovable. I'm not worthy. I'm not good with money, or whatever it is, the story that you're telling yourself. If I don't identify the story that I'm telling myself, it's going to make it very difficult to start making changes. So I really recommend you start acknowledging your negative emotions, understanding them, loving and accepting that part of you, because that is going to allow you to dissolve them. So instead of repressing, it's dissolving. But the only way to dissolve them is through love and understanding. So I hope that makes sense. Let me know in the chat if this made sense. If you're liking what I'm doing, the content that I'm sharing with to help everybody out there change, we need to understand how the mind works. So I hope you enjoy this. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a great week. Take care. Enjoy your week, please. And, see you on the next call. Thank you very much and have a great day. Bye.